When you realize you deserve more, everything starts to shift. Carl Jung. The moment you stop accepting less than your soul knows you deserve, the entire universe begins to rearrange itself around your truth. There comes a sacred moment in every human life, a moment of profound recognition that pierces through years of conditioning, self-doubt, and inherited limitations. It's the moment when something deep within you whispers, "You deserve more than this," not more in the materialistic sense, but more in the truest essence of what it means to be fully alive, fully yourself, fully awakened to your own magnificent potential. Carl Jung understood this moment intimately. He called it the beginning of individuation, the psychological and spiritual process by which we become who we truly are, separate from the expectations and projections of others. The privilege of a lifetime, Jung said, is being who you are. But what does it really mean to deserve more? And why does this realization feel like both a liberation and a terrifying plunge into the unknown? For most of our lives, we carry within us an invisible companion, what Jung called the shadow. This shadow contains not only our repressed negative qualities, but also our repressed magnificence. We learn often from childhood to dim our light, to make ourselves smaller, to accept crumbs when we could have the whole feast of existence. The shadow of unworthiness whispers constantly, "Who are you to want more? Who are you to dream bigger? Who are you to believe you deserve love, success, recognition, peace?" These whispers become the prison bars of our own making, keeping us trapped in relationships that drain us, jobs that suffocate our creativity, and patterns that perpetuate our pain. Jung observed, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Often what irritates us most is witnessing someone else living the life we believe we cannot have, someone else claiming their worth while we remain in the shadows of our own potential. But the shadow is not our enemy. It is our teacher, our guide back to wholeness. When we begin to recognize our shadow of unworthiness, we take the first crucial step toward reclaiming our power. Recognition is a form of spiritual alchemy. When you truly recognize, not just intellectually understand, but viscerally feel that you deserve more, something fundamental shifts in your energy field. You begin to vibrate at a different frequency. You begin to attract different experiences, different people, different opportunities. This is not magical thinking. This is psychological reality. As Jung explained, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. When we unconsciously believe we don't deserve good things, we unconsciously sabotage the good things that come our way. We choose partners who confirm our unworthiness. We accept jobs that undervalue our contributions. We tolerate treatment that diminishes our spirit. But when we make the conscious choice to recognize our inherent worth, we begin to make different choices. We begin to see opportunities where before we saw only obstacles. We begin to set boundaries where before we accepted violations. We begin to invest in ourselves where before we gave everything away. Yet the path is not without its challenges. The moment you decide you deserve more, you will encounter what we might call the great resistance. This resistance comes from multiple sources: the ego that fears change, the unconscious patterns that feel safer in familiar suffering, and often the people around you who are invested in keeping you small. Jung warned us about this. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Why terrifying? Because accepting that you deserve more means accepting responsibility for creating the life you truly want. It means releasing the victim identity that, while painful, can feel safer than the unknown territory of empowerment. The resistance will tell you that you're being selfish, unrealistic, ungrateful. It will bring up every past failure as evidence, that you should settle for less. It will create fear about what others will think, what you might lose, what you might have to face about yourself and your life. This is where courage becomes your greatest ally. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in alignment with your truth despite the fear. Jung beautifully expressed this. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Understanding that you deserve more is not a license for entitlement or selfishness. It is a sacred responsibility. When you truly recognize your worth, you also recognize the worth in others. When you refuse to accept less than you deserve, you give others permission to do the same. When you honor your own soul, you create space for others to honor theirs. This is the paradox of true self-love. The more genuinely you love and value yourself, the more love you have to offer the world. The more boundaries you set with people who drain your energy, the more energy you have for people who nourish your soul. The more you invest in your own growth and healing, the more you can contribute to the healing of others. Jung understood this interconnectedness. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When you show up as someone who knows their worth, you invite others into transformation as well. Recognizing that you deserve more often triggers what feels like a death, the death of who you used to be, the death of old patterns, the death of relationships and situations that no longer serve your highest good. This psychological death can feel overwhelming, even devastating. But Jung taught us about the necessity of this death. In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. The dissolution of your old life is not destruction, it is preparation for rebirth. Like the caterpillar that must completely dissolve before becoming a butterfly, we must often let go of everything we thought we were to become who we truly are. This is where faith becomes essential, not religious faith necessarily, but faith in the process of life itself, faith in your own resilience, faith that the universe supports your highest good, even when you cannot see the path ahead. During this phase, you might lose friends who cannot handle your growth. You might leave jobs that felt secure but suffocating. You might end relationships that were comfortable but unfulfilling. Each loss is actually a liberation, making space for what truly belongs in your life. As you navigate this transformation, something beautiful begins to emerge, your authentic self. This is not a new version of you that you need to create. It is the you that has always existed beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and false beliefs about your worth. Your authentic self knows exactly what you deserve because it remembers your true nature. It remembers that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, not a human being hoping for a spiritual experience. It remembers that you came into this world with unique gifts, perspectives, and purposes that only you can fulfill. Jung called this process of becoming authentic individuation, the central process of human development. The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are, he said, and this privilege is not reserved for a chosen few. It is your birthright. As your authentic self emerges, you begin to make choices from a place of inner knowing rather than external pressure. You begin to trust your intuition, to honor your feelings, to respect your needs. You begin to create a life that reflects your values rather than the expectations of others. When you truly embody the belief that you deserve more and begin living from that truth, you create ripples that extend far beyond your individual life. Your transformation becomes a beacon for others who are still trapped in the prison of unworthiness. Your courage to claim your worth gives others permission to claim theirs. Children watch how you treat yourself and learn what self-respect looks like. Friends observe your boundaries and begin to question their own lack thereof. Colleagues witness your refusal to accept less than your value and start to recognize their own worth. Partners experience your wholeness and are invited to their own healing. This is not about becoming perfect or superior to others. It is about becoming authentically yourself and allowing that authenticity to inspire authenticity in others. As Jung observed, the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are. And when you claim that privilege, you create space for others to claim it too. Recognizing that you deserve more is not a one-time realization, but a continuous practice. Old patterns have deep roots, and they will attempt to resurface when you face stress, uncertainty, or challenges. The voice of unworthiness will whisper again, trying to convince you to settle for less. This is why the journey requires ongoing commitment to self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-advocacy. It requires daily practices that reinforce your worth: meditation, journaling, setting boundaries, pursuing growth, surrounding yourself with people who see and support your highest self. Jung reminds us, your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. The practice of looking inside, of checking in with your soul's truth, of asking yourself, does this honor who I am becoming, becomes a sacred ritual of self-preservation and self-creation. As you continue to grow and transform, you begin to understand that deserving more does not mean rejecting the parts of yourself or your journey that have been difficult or painful. True wholeness comes from integrating both shadow and light, both struggle and triumph, both vulnerability and strength. Your past experiences of accepting less than you deserved become valuable teachers that help you recognize and appreciate what you now know you're worth. Your moments of doubt and fear become reminders of how far you've traveled. Your mistakes and failures become evidence of your humanity and your resilience. Jung taught us, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The darkness of your past unworthiness, when brought into conscious awareness, becomes a source of wisdom and compassion for yourself and for others who are still finding their way. Living from the recognition that you deserve more creates an entirely new foundation for your life. Instead of building from a place of lack, fear, and unworthiness, you build from a place of abundance, love, and inherent value. This new foundation supports different choices, different relationships, different opportunities. You begin to invest in yourself without guilt. You pursue opportunities that align with your values and vision. You speak up for yourself in situations where you previously remained silent. You walk away from anything that asks you to diminish your light in order to make others comfortable. This new foundation is not built overnight, but stone by stone, choice by choice, boundary by boundary. Each time you choose yourself, you strengthen the foundation. Each time you honor your worth, you build something that cannot be easily shaken by external circumstances or internal doubts. Perhaps most importantly, recognizing that you deserve more becomes a sacred commitment, not just to yourself but to life itself. It becomes a commitment to not waste the precious gift of your existence by settling for anything less than what your soul knows is possible. This commitment is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it requires you to acknowledge areas where you have not been honoring your worth. Empowering because it places the responsibility for your life firmly in your own hands. Jung spoke of the transcendent function, the psychological mechanism that bridges the gap between conscious and unconscious, between who we are and who we can become. The commitment to your own worth activates this transcendent function, creating a bridge between your current reality and your highest potential. As we near the end of this reflection, it's important to recognize that the journey of recognizing your worth is not just a personal journey, it is a universal human journey. Every person who has ever lived has faced the question of their own worthiness. Every soul has had to decide whether to expand into their fullness or contract into smallness. The recognition that you deserve more is not a privilege of the few, but a birthright of all. It is the call of the soul to return home to itself, to remember its divine nature, to claim its place in the grand tapestry of existence. When you answer this call, you join a lineage of individuals throughout history who have refused to settle for less than their truth. You become part of the collective awakening of humanity to its own magnificence. Jung spoke of the concept of eternal return, the idea that we continuously spiral back to the same lessons and challenges, but at deeper levels of understanding and integration. Your recognition that you deserve more is not a destination but a spiral path that you will walk many times, each time with greater wisdom, greater compassion, and greater commitment to your truth. There will be moments when you forget your worth and accept less than you deserve. This is not failure. It is human. The key is to remember that each forgetting is an opportunity for deeper remembering. Each contraction is preparation for greater expansion. Each moment of settling is a teacher that reminds you of what you truly want. The path of recognizing your worth is ultimately the path of coming home to yourself, of remembering who you have always been beneath the layers of conditioning and compromise. It is the path of becoming fully alive, fully present, fully yourself in a world that often rewards conformity and settling. As we conclude this journey together, remember that recognizing you deserve more is both the simplest and most profound truth you can embrace. Simple because it requires nothing more than acknowledgement of what your soul already knows. Profound because it has the power to transform not only your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. The shift begins the moment you stop negotiating with your worth, the moment you stop making excuses for why you should accept less, the moment you recognize that your deepest longings are not selfish desires, but sacred callings from your soul. You are not here to live a small life. You are not here to dim your light so others feel comfortable. You are not here to accept crumbs when you could have abundance. You are here to become fully yourself, to contribute your unique gifts to the world, to love and be loved in the fullest expression of those words. The universe has been waiting for you to recognize what it has always known, that you are worthy of every good thing your heart desires, every dream that stirs your soul, every love that calls to your spirit. As Carl Jung so beautifully expressed, the greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Do not let your unlived life be a tragedy. Do not let your unrecognized worth be a secret you take to your grave. The time is now. The person is you. The life you deserve is waiting. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Carl Jung. If this reflection spoke to your soul and awakened something within you, if you felt the stirring of recognition, the whisper of remembrance, the call to claim what you know you deserve, then you are not alone on this journey. Subscribe to continue this exploration of the depths of the human soul, the mysteries of transformation, and the courage required to live authentically. Share this with someone who needs to remember their worth. Like if you're ready to stop settling for less than your truth, the journey of becoming who you truly are is just beginning, and you deserve to live it fully.